Oh, hey, if there's one piece of knowledge that I've gathered about life thus far, it's that sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for the greater good. You gotta make some mistakes in order to learn. You gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. And most importantly, you gotta cheat on your girlfriend before you can find the love of your life. What was that second part?
Cheating is defined as the practice of acting dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain an advantage, especially in a game or examination. Thank God for this napkin I found in the Burger King parking lot. When you think of the act of cheating, there's probably at least one specific example of the practice that comes to mind, but there's actually quite a few contexts in which the term can properly be used. And most of these examples are fairly different, but the one thing they all have in common is that they basically all carry negative connotations. I mean, just revisiting the definition from earlier will demonstrate that. In order to cheat, you have to act dishonestly or unfairly. You don't just put a prefix like that in front of a word and expect everything to be okay. But let's be fair about this. I think cheating is something we've all done in some capacity before, even if it was in a minuscule fashion. If there weren't benefits to cheating, people wouldn't do it, but lo and behold, have you looked at society lately? So let's take a look at a bunch of examples of cheating and see if we can deduce why the act of doing so carries so much bad press.
What?
I think the first instance of cheating that many of our young, impressionable minds were exposed to was the act of cheating in school in regards to cheating on the work you were assigned. It's no secret that some individuals were appointed with more academic prowess than others, but the same idea can be applied to laziness. School is a hurdle in life that most people have to get through in order to reach the wonderful privileges of adulthood, like
taxes, back pain, prostate exams.
But if you want access to those luxuries, you gotta prove your capabilities as a scholar by
putting in hard work and effort. Why do I even bother?
Come on, guys. Why would I spend all my time trying to get better at subjects that challenge me when the guy sitting right next to me already has all the answers I need? School's just a ploy by the government to get us all to learn unnecessary information so we can't use the first 18 years of our lives accomplishing better things anyway. When am I ever gonna need to know what a Golgi apparatus is? You think all these things to yourself in the midst of struggling on your biology test while your classmate blows through page after page with ease until you reach a breaking point and just say, screw it, taking a quick peek at their answers couldn't hurt. Yeah, there's a reason why cheating is taken so seriously by schools of all demographics, and why in every single syllabus I've read in my academic career, there's a big old no cheating blurb at some point in the document. For the most part, schools don't tolerate cheating in any capacity, and in fact, students can face major consequences if they're caught doing so, even bordering on legal troubles depending on the situation. Obviously, there's a lot of other ways to cheat in school than just copying someone else's answers, but in every case, cheating in school just yields bad results for basically everybody involved. By cheating in school, not only are you doing a disservice to said school and possibly a disservice to anyone you copy off of by taking credit for their work, but you're also doing a disservice to yourself by depriving yourself of precious knowledge like, oh my god, can we please think of a different example? And to all of you saying, okay, Poindexter, are you meaning to tell me you've never cheated before? I'll have you know that no, of course not. I have never, ever cheated on any test of any kind ever. I know better than to do something like that. Whoa, how did that get above my head? Look, I know school can be tough and all, but just generally speaking here, cheating is something that you're probably gonna want to avoid at all costs. Like, rabies. Yeah. Like we've already established, cheating is most often done to gain some sort of advantage, and lucky for humanity, there's just a slew of different competitive avenues in which you can be a dirty, rotten piece of shit. Basically, any sort of event that involves people competing to reign supreme above one or more other parties, including sports, video games, board games, you name it, they all leave room for some kind of form of cheating. And yeah, doing so is almost certainly always frowned upon, but man, who gives a shit what other people think? That trophy's gonna look mighty fine next to that pile of dirty laundry in my room. Of course, there's many different ways to cheat in a competition depending on what it is you're trying to accomplish, but they almost always take one of three forms: enhancing yourself, hindering someone else, or for the real scumbags out there, doing both. If you're looking to give yourself an advantage in a game, well, that can be as small of a practice as peeking at your opponent's hand in a card game, or as large as taking f***ing steroids.
Wait.
If you're looking to hinder someone else in a competition, well, have I got the article for you. Tripping someone in a race, blocking their view of a video game, straight up hitting them. There's just so many ways to be an all-around awful human being. You'd think professionals in any given activity would be above such dirty practices as the ones we've just discussed, and yeah, I think for the most part they are. But let me tell you, the day a baseball player named Mark McGwire admits to taking performance-enhancing drugs is the day I lose hope for humanity, son of a bitch.
You're real lucky I was 9 and had no idea who the f you were, Mark.
Yeah, some of the biggest cheating scandals of all time have taken place in professional sports because who needs integrity and sportsmanship? It's not like these are nationally televised events we're competing in. Oh wait. In 2015, Tom Brady was accused of requesting team staff to deliberately underinflate footballs to hinder the performance of their opposing team in the battle between the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts, resulting in the NFL commissioning a 243-page report investigating the case because 242 just wasn't enough. There's a reason why cheating in these cases is treated with such gravitas, as it can once again be at the expense of basically everybody involved. Now, what motivates people to go through with it? Well, it can be a number of things. A deeply rooted insecurity, the thought that doing anything to feel superior to others can make up for a lack of talent and motivation, or maybe you just felt like dicking around, I don't know. Obviously, cheating in a game isn't always the worst thing in the world. I think anybody can admit, even if it's annoying for some people, cheating in a board game isn't usually comparable to committing a huge crime or anything. Hell, it can even make for a few good laughs if you're with the right people.
But I mean, the same can be said about manslaughter, so like, what point are you trying to make?
And with video games, they used to offer entire books worth of cheat codes to use in an attempt to play the game in ways that were allegedly never intended by the developers. But they were programmed into the goddamn game. Is it even considered cheating at that point? The severity of cheating in these cases pretty much just depends on the scope of the competition and what the competition actually consists of. But at least when you're directly competing against other people, I'd say cheating is something you usually want to avoid, just for the sake of playing fairly and trying to actually win legitimately. I'd personally just rather take a loss and then make up an excuse as to why it wasn't actually justified.
My controller was broken, and also it's a watermelon.
We've discussed some pretty heavy examples of cheating so far, so let's dial things back a bit and talk about I am going to consume that cake. Cheating on a diet, because everybody deserves to treat themselves from time to time. I personally like to do so on any day with a vowel in its name. This is a more peculiar example of cheating, as it's not done so with the intent of giving yourself an advantage. In fact, it's essentially doing the exact opposite. The point of a diet is typically to lose body weight, or at least to attempt living a quote-unquote healthier lifestyle. So to cheat on said diet is to go against the conventions of the practice and say, "F it, you only live once." This is probably the most acceptable example of cheating, as it basically only affects one person. You. Hell, having a cheat day, as they call it, can actually be beneficial for some people, as it can give you a break from the monotony of eating rabbit food every day. And in a lot of cases, it can help to improve the quality and longevity of the diet in question. But again, and I cannot stress this enough, this depends on the person and also the diet, as in other cases, it can cause for a little thing I like to call overindulgence.
Don't look at me.
Now, I don't claim to be a dietary expert. I mean, look at me.
What did I just say?
But there's a reason why the phrase too much of a good thing exists. So if you're gonna cheat on a diet, you gotta know how to regulate it. You gotta know. I'm doing just fine over here.
F my life.
To cap things off, let's end on a not so high note. If you're an adult, then it's likely that the most relevant example of cheating is as simple as adding an ERY. I stand corrected. Cheating in a romantic relationship. One of the quickest ways to induce trust issues into anybody. It's true. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend it.
What kind of doctors are you polling?
The act of cheating in a relationship involves a person partaking in romantic or intimate situations with someone outside of the relationship in question, unbeknownst to and at the expense of the other person established to be in the relationship. There is debate as to what exactly equates to cheating romantically. Some people would say breathing on the wrong person counts as cheating. But it's fairly cut and dry that there are pretty obvious examples of romantic or intimate practices. I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you, but shoving your tongue down a stranger's throat behind your partner's back, that's gonna go on the cheating list. Now, I'm not gonna say that I'm against people that partake in polygamy, but I will say that, much like anything in a relationship, it has to be consensual. If everyone involved in a relationship is on board with it, then yeah, go nuts, sleep with anyone you want. I won't tell anybody except my therapist, but in most cases, this isn't how things seem to play out. In 2021, 21% of people admitted to partaking in the act of cheating on their partners. 21%. 1%. What the f***? And to everyone saying, oh, it could be worse, it could be 22%. Yeah, it was. In 2012. What the hell was going on that year? Take me back to 2015 when infidelity was at a relative low point and the worst thing we had to worry about was the deflation of f***ing footballs. Alright, Antonio, you've made your point. Cheating is a little too common for your liking, but there must be some reason why so many people do it.
Yeah, I can actually think of a couple. Let's see, just off the top of my head. Trauma from a previous relationship, an absence of happiness in a current relationship, lack of self-respect, lack of respect for your partner, lack of emotional maturity, inability to handle confrontation, fear of commitment, deeply rooted insecurities, lack of responsibility, extreme egocentrism.
Look, I'm not gonna say I can't understand the reasons why people cheat in relationships. At the root of it all, I think most people cheat on their significant others due to some feeling of discontent in their current relationship. It's as simple as that. But I can't stress enough that nothing justifies the act of cheating romantically. I don't care if you don't think it's a big deal. I don't care if the person you cheated with is the one that convinced you to do it. I don't even care if you're doing it as revenge for someone cheating on you. Cheating is never the right thing to do.
I knew I'd find a use for this eventually. Cheating in romantic relationships is something that I see way too often and I'm sick of it. It's baffling to me that I even have to raise this point, but if we can reduce the amount that it's happening even just a little bit, it would be a goddamn miracle. If you're unhappy in a relationship, that's okay. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it's at least understandable. Going behind the back of the person that you're in a committed partnership with and just disregarding their feelings entirely, it's just wrong. I know it sucks to have the breakup conversation, but I guarantee you 100% of the time it's going to leave everyone better off in the long run. It's going to hurt in the moment, but at the end of it all, it's worth the trouble. And really, it basically just boils down to how much respect you have for your partner, which should exist at least to some minuscule degree if you made the decision to commit to them. Even if they hurt you in some way, just act like an adult and set that boundary for yourself. It's really not that hard. Sum it all up, cheating is generally bad. I know, what a bold stance to take on the matter, but it's a sentiment that needs to be shared either way because let's face it, cheating can be enticing. Even if you're the embodiment of purity itself, cheating can be easy to get away with and it can be beneficial to you. But at what cost? You can cheat your way through life if you want, but not even taking legal consequences into consideration, you seriously gotta ask yourself, is it really worth the trouble? In a lot of cases, cheating might not only affect others in a negative way, but yourself as well. In the end, and speaking from experience, avoiding cheating in most, if not all cases, is going to leave you feeling better about things in the long run. And you won't even have to worry about feeling guilt for your actions. And I don't know about you, but I think that's a pretty sweet deal. But hey, what do I know? I've avoided cheating for most of my entire life and look where it got me. That's right, I'm not God. It's like I said earlier, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. And wouldn't you know it? I think I followed the wrong recipe.